and women in the Navy, and women in the Air Force, and women on the street gangs building roads, and women as police officers, and women doing everything that men were functionally equipped to do. All right. What happens when the night wants to become day? Let's see. What happens when the night wants to become day? Singapore, you better listen. First of all, of course, women go out to work. And they're now employed full-time outside the house. Not always is the office environment conducive to marital fidelity. When you go out to work, you've got to dress. You've got to dress. And you are admired. There are some men who have eyes, and they see, and when they're attracted, they fail off. There are other men who have eyes, and when they see, and they're attracted, they become sharks. And so she gets bitten out there in the office. And the divorce takes place. The age of the feminist revolution is the age of also a spectacular increase in the number of divorces. Yes, his heart is broken when a divorce takes place. Yes, her heart sometimes is also broken when a divorce takes place. But the ones who suffer the most are the children. Broken hearts and broken homes. There are millions of American children today who are like that. And the numbers are constantly increasing. What happens to these children? They grow up and embrace violence as an external expression of an internal rage inside of them. And so guns in the schools. At age 8 and 10, guns in the schools. And it's increasing. They embrace drugs as a means of escape from a reality which is too painful for them. And so drugs in the school, we're not talking about drugs for adults, we're talking about drugs being consumed by children. And then as the child reaches the age of puberty and becomes biologically different now, they seek love that they didn't get at home in the arms of another child. And so she's just age 14. She's already had 2 abortions. And they call that progress. They call that progress. But that's not really the subject of our lecture. That you'll find a slave woman giving birth to her mistress. We're concerned with another part of this process. As the night attempts to become day, woman assumes the functional role of men. To assume the functional role of men, she even has to dress as a man. Have you ever seen her going to work? In trousers and jacket and a tie? Maybe it hasn't come to Singapore as yet. She even has to talk as the man. I don't want to mention any names in the former President Clinton's cabinet. She even has to talk as a man. She has to behave as a man in the office. And in the process, she destroys her own femininity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes femininity in the Qur'an. Musa alayhi salam is over there at the well. You remember when he fled from Egypt? And the two girls were there with their sheep and goats and so on, and he watered them. So they were able to go home early. And then the father sent back one of the girls. Go to him and invite him to come for a meal. And this girl, who is a knight, who is really the knight, Allah describes her coming to meet Musa alayhi salam. Allah describes her bashfulness. Allah describes how shy she feels. Allah describes how she is trailing her clothing behind her. She is at her wit's end because she has to approach a man. You think Uncle Sam's daughter is like that? The feminist revolution destroys the femininity of a woman. Bashfulness is gone. Shyness is gone. Modesty disappearing. And so she loses her femininity. What happens when women begin to lose their femininity? Then of course the men will start marrying Indonesian women. But apart from that answer, what happens when women begin to lose their femininity? The answer is the day will no longer be attracted to the night. And when the day is no longer attracted to the night, then the day will mate with the day. And so homosexuality and lesbianism are the necessary product of the feminist revolution that has already come to many parts of the world and is constantly increasing. But that is not our subject. A slave woman gives birth to her mistress. This woman is down there in the hold of the ship. And this one up here is first class. And this one has embraced the feminist revolution. As the night tries to become day, the night will no longer be truly night. And so not only does woman lose her femininity, she loses something else. Come on, tell me. At least Singapore should be able to answer that. She loses her fertility. Have I struck a chord now, Singapore? She loses her fertility. As the night tries to become day, women lose their fertility. So they can't have babies. Because they now lack fertility. Wherever the feminist revolution has taken root, there have been declining fertility rates. Now do you know what's going on in Singapore? Declining fertility rates. And so women have to go to clinics and spend huge sums of money to try to become pregnant. Because the womb is no longer fertile. But there's a second reason for declining fertility rates. It is not just the feminist revolution and its struggle for women's liberation. It is also the environmental pollution. The environmental pollution impacts upon men. I still have some hair on my head, but my wife is telling me it's getting thin up here now. What do you think is causing this?